So this is Pre-Calc 12, Lesson 7.3. Unit 7 is called Trigonometry. Lesson 3 is called Coterminal angles. What we're going to learn in this lesson is how to understand angles larger than 360 degrees or less than 0 degrees. We're also going to talk about what are coterminal angles. So on the unit circle, once you get, notice that when we talk about degrees, we are going like counterclockwise. We're starting on this right side of the x-axis and we go counterclockwise. So 60 degrees would just be going 60 degrees or pi over 3 in the counterclockwise direction. Once we get to 360 degrees, and we go to 361 degrees, so 1 degree beyond a full rotation, we just go back around the circle again. So 360, 720, we just keep going. So if I say 420 degrees, 420 is about 360 degrees more than 60. Or it's 60 degrees more than 360. You can think of it that way too. So 420, I'm going to go full 360 degrees, and then an additional 60 degrees. And so 420 degrees on the unit circle ends up at the same rotation as 60 degrees does on the unit circle. Also 780 degrees would be one full rotation, 360, plus another full rotation, 720. And then 780 would be 60 more than 720. So we'll go from the 2 full rotations, we'll go another 60 degrees. And that'll be, so 780 ends at the same spot that 420 ends at, which also ends at the same spot that 60 degrees ends at. So this relationship, since all these angles end or terminate at the same spot on the unit circle, we call them coterminal angles. Coterminal angles. Co means like together, terminal means like end. So these angles all end at the same spot. So those are angles bigger than 360. What about angles less than 0? So if I go less, like a negative angle, positive angles, we're going in the counterclockwise direction. So negative angles, we just go backwards. We go in the negative direction, or the clockwise direction. So if I go negative 300 degrees, I'm going to go 300 degrees clockwise. 300 degrees clockwise is 60 degrees away from one full rotation. So negative 300 degrees is coterminal to 60 degrees. And if I go down another 360 degrees, another full rotation, it would be negative 660. So negative 660 would also be coterminal to these ones. Yeah, so that's coterminal angles greater than 360, less than 0. Let's see here. So if I want to rotate on the unit circle and find these sides of angles, if it's greater than 360, we're going to just rotate a full circle and then the rest. So like 390, for example, is 30 degrees more than 360. So we would do one full rotation and then an additional 30 degrees. Pi over 2 is 90 degrees, so negative pi over 2 would be going 90 degrees clockwise. 705 degrees is 15 less than 20, or 720. So negative 705 degrees would be going counterclockwise, and it'd be almost 2 full rotations, but it'd be 15 degrees less than 2 full rotations. So this one rotation, almost 2 full rotations, ending 15 degrees away from the second full rotation. 681 degrees is about 39 degrees shy of 2 full rotations. So we'll go counterclockwise, 1 rotation, and the second rotation will end about 39 degrees away from the second full rotation. So I guess you could say that 681 degrees is coterminal to negative 39 degrees. Alright, so the same problems, but instead if I ask this question instead, so what would be a coterminal, like if these are angles theta, what angle theta would be coterminal to these angles where theta is some number between 0 and 360? So 190, if I undo a full rotation, I'm basically just subtracting 360 degrees from 390. So degrees, I could just add or subtract 360 degrees over and over again until I get between 0 and 360. So 390 minus 360, that's 30 degrees. So 30 degrees would be our theta angle. That's coterminal to 390, but between 0 and 360. The second example is in radians. So if I want to do a full rotation, that would be 2 pi, because 2 pi is equal to 360. So negative pi over 2 plus 2 pi would be 3 pi over 2. Or if you think 2 pi would be 4 halves, and you take away 1 half, you're left with 3 halves. And so negative pi over 2 would be equal to, or be coterminal to 3 pi over 2. And so our theta there would be 3 pi over 2. That's between, will be 0 and 360, and radians would be 0 and 2 pi. So that works. Negative 705, so to undo a negative rotation, we're going to add 360. And if I add 360, that's not going to be enough to get me above 0. So I'm going to add 360 a second time. So negative 705 plus, really plus 720. 360 plus 360 is 720 would be positive 15. So theta would be 15 degrees for this one. It's coterminal to negative 705, but it's between 0 and 360. Last example, we're just going to undo one rotation. So subtract 360, we'll get to 321. So that's our coterminal angle theta. Alright, so now we've looked at trig angles that are larger than 360 and less than 0 degrees. And now we know how to identify coterminal angles, and we know what coterminal angles are.